Shavon Revel Jr. just signed a 4-year, $6.5 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys, the 76th pick of the 2025 NFL Draft.
I know I gotta work,
But what you probably didn't know is just a couple years before that pick, this same kid was loading trucks on an overnight shift at an Amazon warehouse. This two-way star in high school who could play offense and defense, and yet he couldn't land one single Division I scholarship. Not one. And just like that, he was gone. We are gonna unpack the real story which runs through that warehouse, a wrecked car, and one secret about the Dallas Cowboys that once you hear it, I guarantee you'll never look at this pick the same way again. But before we break this down for you, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And with that, let's go. So how does that even happen? How does a two-way star just vanish and end up loading trucks at 3 in the morning with not a single Division I offer to his name? Well, it starts with getting hit, and not the kind from playing football. When Shavon Revel was a sophomore in high school, he was riding in the car with his father and 2 of his brothers. His dad was behind the wheel, and out of nowhere, a violent coughing fit hit him, causing him to black out. The car drifted and slammed right into a cement wall. Everybody survived, but Shavon didn't walk away clean. He broke his nose and fractured his skull, and he needed surgery. His whole sophomore season was gone before it even started, and it took him half a year just to get healthy enough to play again. And then the very next year, a broken collarbone ended his junior season too. But here's the thing, when this kid's body finally let him stay on the field, he was a problem. As a senior, he picked off 4 passes and caught a touchdown with 32 seconds left to give his school its first ever win over a rival. He played a quarterback, receiver, a defensive back, all of it. And on top of that, he was a multi-event track athlete with the kind of speed college coaches dream about. The talent was never the question, but 2 seasons wrecked by injury meant he had almost no healthy film for college coaches to even look at. And then there were the grades. On paper, Revel was an academic non-qualifier. His grades were just too low to get into any major school. So every offer that should have poured in for that kind of talent, it never came. Not one. Every single door was slammed shut. So he went to the only place that would take him, a junior college, Lewisburg College, right there in North Carolina. And the second he got there, the football world went completely silent on him. His first season in 2020 got wiped out by the pandemic. So add it all up. Over 2 full years of junior college, Shavon Revel played in a grand total of 2 games. 2 games in 2 years. And that's when he took the warehouse job in Kernersville. 10-hour overnight shifts, scanning boxes, and loading trucks while the rest of the world was asleep. And here's the detail that tells you everything about the family. His father, Keith, was working that same warehouse right alongside him. This is the part where the world wrote him off completely, a forgotten kid on a loading dock while football moved on like he never existed. But everything in the world thought it knew about Shavon Revel was about to get flipped upside down. And to understand how, you got to go all the way back to where he came from. Shavon Revel Jr. was born on April 8, 2001 in the Winston-Salem area of North Carolina. Hardworking, blue-collar part of the world, and in the Revel house, football was everything. Keith, his dad, ran a 7-on-7 team right there in his hometown. His mom, Tamika Rapley, raised him right in the middle of all of it. Football was just the language his family spoke, but money was tight. Real tight. So Revel and his brothers played what they call throw-up football, which is any patch of grass that they could find, that's where they played. And right outside his mom's mobile home, there was the steep concrete hill, and Revel ran right up that hill day and night, over and over. Nobody making him do it, nobody timing him, he just did it. And years later, he put that whole childhood into a few sentences. That's the way I came up. You don't make excuses. You don't blame what's happened to you in life. You gotta get it. You take it. No one's gonna feel sorry for you. Now keep that heel in the back of your pocket because we're gonna come back to that later. Because that same mindset of getting knocked down and getting back up turns out to be the exact way you've got to think to play one specific spot on a football field, cornerback. You've got to have a short memory if you're going to play cornerback, Revel said. You give up a catch, and it's on to the next play. You ain't got time to be hanging your head, and it's the same way in life. A short memory, hold on to that, because it's the whole reason this story doesn't end on that loading dock. So that's where we left him, a forgotten kid on an overnight shift with a fractured skull, a broken collarbone, and a 2.0 grade average sitting on his record. But here's what every college program in America missed. The kid could play. He just never gotten a fair chance to show it, and all he needed was one person to crack open the door. So his father did. Keith had zero doubt his son could play, but without college film, nobody was ever going to actually see it. So he did the one thing a believing dad could do. He signed Shavon up for a prospect camp at East Carolina University, 2.5 hours away. A camp mostly meant for high school kids. It was a long shot, but it was also maybe the last shot. And the way Revel chased it down tells you everything. On the morning of that camp, June 6th, 2021, he finished a full 10-hour overnight shift. Then he napped in his father's car while he waited for his dad, Keith, to clock out, and the two of them drove 2.5 hours to East Carolina. So this kid showed up to the most important tryout of his life on about 1 hour of sleep. And then he went out there and broke the whole place in half. On no rest, Shavon ran a 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. For a man his size, that's world-class track star speed. He put up an 11-foot broad jump, he hit a 39-inch vertical, and he did all of it at 6'2" with the kind of long arms that let a cornerback smother a receiver. And the ECU coaches just stood there. They couldn't believe what they were looking at. "We didn't know much about him, really nothing," said Blake Harrell, ECU's defensive coordinator at the time. "But we were like, holy smokes, you just don't see that kind of speed in his size and length." So East Carolina offered him a scholarship right there on the spot with one condition: get them grades up. "That's all I needed to hear," Revel said. And the drive home hit a little different. The drive back was a lot more exciting than the drive there, his dad Keith said. "We were exhausted. But a shot is still not a guarantee, because if school that took the chance took it on a kid with a 2.0 grade point average, it wasn't like a lot of schools were lining up to offer a scholarship to somebody who had a 2.0 junior college," Revel said. "I never forgot that." So he locked in. He dragged those grades up and he got himself eligible. And in 2022, he finally put on an East Carolina uniform. And then he sat. A hand injury in preseason camp slowed him down yet again. So that whole first year, he was basically just a special teams guy. But even buried way down that depth chart, the staff could feel something building underneath. "We probably should have played him more, but you could tell he was coming," Harrell said. "Anything you asked him to do, he did it 100%. He was about to show up, and nobody outside that building knew it yet." And then 2023 happened, and every long shot needs that one coach who believes in him. For Shavon Revel, that was position coach named Jules Montanar. Revel packed on about 20 pounds of muscle, and Montanar started teaching him the actual craft of playing cornerback from the ground up. "Coach taught me the position of cornerback," Revel said. "Everything I didn't have, he fixed." And in his very first real season at the spot, Revel led all of East Carolina with 12 pass breakups. Balls he knocked away before the receiver could ever catch them. He blocked 2 field goals, and he was named one of the best defensive backs in the whole conference. But the number that made scouts sit straight up in their chairs was a coverage sack. More than 1 out of every 4 passes thrown his way fell incomplete. Second best rate in the entire country. The only corner ahead of him was a kid named Quinyon Mitchell, who went 22nd overall in the next draft. And Revel did all of it on a team that won just 2 games all year. He was only scratching the surface, Montanar said. He went 2-10, but he played his butt off. And a season like that in the transfer portal era, where any player can pack up and switch schools for the right offer, that means the phone started to ring. And Revel's phone rang off the hook. Playoff programs in the SEC and the Big Ten came calling. And according to Keith, one coach offered $600,000 just to get him to leave, but he turned it down. "I was going to be true to myself," he said. "They weren't going to buy me." So he came back for 1 more year. In 2024, as a projected first-round pick, some analysts had him ranked as one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the entire class, and he came out absolutely on fire. In his first 3 games, he picked off 2 passes, and one of them against Appalachian State, he took 50 yards the other way for a touchdown.
Here, and this pass is intercepted. Shavon Revel Jr., he's going to take it to the house.
And that right there was the play. That was the moment the whole country finally saw what East Carolina had known for 2 years. A long, fast corner who went hunting for the football and could flip a game in a single play. And then just a few days later, it all stopped. A Wednesday practice, just a normal rep. Revel turned to break on the ball, landed awkward on his left knee, and grabbed it right away because he already knew. Torn ACL, season over. It took me 2 or 3 days to get over it, but I wasn't going to let it drag me down. I hadn't let anything drag me down my whole life and wasn't going to start then. Short memory, on to the next play. But across the league, the doubt crept in. The traits were rare, sure, but Revel was now coming off of a major knee surgery. His tape had come against a lower level of competition, not the SEC or the Big Ten. His technique was still raw, and at 24, he was old for a prospect, leaning this hard on pure athletic ability. Even his biggest believers admitted that his tape wasn't quite as clean as Quinton Mitchell's. An older corner, hurt, unproven against the best, the doubt piled up. And the doubt is what made him fall. But here's the secret that changed everything. Revel needed surgery to fix that knee. And in October of 2024, he went under the knife. But the operation didn't happen in North Carolina. It happened in Dallas. And the surgeon was a man named Dr. Dan Cooper. Now, if that name doesn't mean anything to you yet, just give it a second, because Dr. Dan Cooper is the head team physician for the Dallas Cowboys. So sit with that for a minute. Months before any team drafted him, before a single phone rang, the Cowboys' own doctor literally had his hands inside Shavon Revel's knee, putting the thing back together. And Cooper even sent a note out to every general manager in the league, letting them know that the rehab was right on track and Revel would be cleared by the summer. So while 31 other teams were out there guessing about that knee, there was one team that didn't have to guess at all. One team that knew that knee better than anyone else. And you could probably see where this is going. Friday night, April 25th, 2025, round 3 of the NFL draft. Now remember, just months before this, some had this kid ranked among the top 5 corners in the whole class. But because of the injury, all he could do now was wait. And he waited in his blue suit in a room full of the people who had carried him there. Keith, the father who had signed him up for that camp and worked that warehouse floor right beside him, Tamika, his mother. The first round came and went. The second round came and went. And the family that had been through every bit of this together just sat there in silence. Then, with a 76th pick, the Dallas Cowboys made the call. And the pick was announced by a Cowboys legend, the former center Travis Frederick. The team that already knew that knee, the team whose own doctor had already done the work, they were the ones who said his name. I put on a whole blue suit, Revel said. I was like, hey, it might be a chance I go to them boys. And he was right. And the NFL analysts immediately started calling him one of the biggest steals of the entire draft. And make no mistake about it, Dallas didn't take this kid out of pity. Going into that draft, the Cowboys had a real problem at cornerback. Jordan Lewis had left to sign with another team. Trayvon Diggs was coming off knee surgery of his own, and that whole era in Dallas was ending. The Cowboys needed length and speed on the outside, and they needed it bad. So what they did with that draft was they built Tyler Booker in the first round, Donovan Izaraku in the second round, and then in the third, the corner who could lock up receivers one by one and jam them at the line. The kind of rare athlete who, when fully healthy, looked like first-round talent. And one NFL evaluator put it simply, he's a guy you set your schedule to. So think about everything it took for him to get here. After a fractured skull, a broken collarbone, grades that shut down every door, only playing 2 games in 2 years of junior college, and after a torn ACL stole his first dream, Shavon Revel was finally a Dallas Cowboy. But the road still had one more test in it. A setback in training camp put him right back on the shelf to start his rookie year, and he missed the first 10 games. He didn't see the field until week 11 on a Monday night out in Las Vegas against the Raiders. And by the time he finally ran out of that tunnel, it had been 429 days since he last stepped on the football field. 429 days. So he plugged in his pre-game music, Till I Collapse by Eminem, of course. Dallas won that night, 33-16. And just like that, Shavon Revel finally out there playing for the team that had bet on him. His rookie year was a grind, 7 games, 5 starts, 35 tackles, all of it on a brand new knee. Rough in some spots, real in others. the start of something. And now, heading into 2026, the picture is finally clear. The knee is back to 100%. He's got a full healthy offseason in front of him for the first time as a pro. He switched to number 28, the same number he wore at East Carolina, and he's competing for a starting job under a new coaching staff. After everything, the road in front of him is finally wide open. And how does Shavon Revel see it? The same exact way he's seen everything else his whole entire life. I am gonna be someday the best cornerback in the league, he said. That's just how I look at it, and I have the confidence to say it. At the end of the day, I got to work. From a steep concrete hill outside his mother's mobile home to a loading dock at 3 in the morning to a star on the side of his helmet. The player the whole world forgot still plays with determination and a purposeful short memory. You give up a catch, it's on to the next play. And it's the same way in life. Shavon Revel Jr., number 28, a Dallas Cowboy. And now his story is just getting started. If you enjoyed this one, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And with that, I'm out. Peace.